And we are back. Welcome to the Soapbox, where people who work, volunteer, and care about recovery tell us who they are and what they're most passionate about. My name is Richard Jones, RN, and I'm here representing parentingyourchildinrecovery.com and the home website secondstarts.com. That's number two, NDSTARTS.com. My guest today is Tamara Kirby. Tamara is a business owner, an addictions counselor, a trauma informed counselor, and survivor herself. And she is also a woman in long term recovery. Tamara, thank you for being with me. Introduce yourself. How are you, dear?
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Richard. Yeah, I'm
That's,
great.
that's great. Tamara, I start off every show by asking everyone to give me the Cliff Notes version of themselves and speak freely. Tell us about who you are, some of the things you go, and we'll get into some of your soapbox points and projects later. But just give us a general idea who you are.
I mean, you capsulated it, honestly. I'm a woman that has a huge life experience to draw upon. Everything from being a woman who lived in the system as a child,
Hmm.
a woman who is adopted. I have a daughter who is 28 and is an amazing human being. I have a group of friends and colleagues that are incredible, that just spend their life helping others in recovery. And, I love to hike and be outside and just enjoy each and every moment life has to offer.
Oh, that's great. There's a couple of questions that I got to on my questionnaire. Some of the silly things in the bottom. I can't wait to grill you on a couple of things. So there's,
Okay.
there's a couple of things I want to grill you on, but that's okay.
Grill me
Uh,
on. Okay.
grill you on, yes. Okay. Before we move on, I just want to remind everybody in the show notes, we're going to have a nice offering from Tamara about her programs. You're going to find some of these things very enlightening and exciting, especially if you're a woman in recovery. She has some great programs on the near horizon. We're going to get to those things. We also talk about in the show notes if you are the parent or a mentor of a young adult between 17 and 24, and they're at risk, in trouble, or in some type of recovery mode. There's a non-clinical private option. You can check that out. And also for practitioners who want to partner with us. So, Tamara, we're going to move right into it. I'm going to put you up on the soapbox and we're going to talk about some things that you've enlightened me on. And I want to have you, kind of build on those things. First of all, and something that I've always worried about, but talk about this, the, the consumerism and the marketing behind alcohol and what it does to us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't realize it at every stage, but mostly in our formative years, our brains are just sponges and we're just taking in information all of the time and sorting through that. And it's just sticking with us. And so talking about the marketing and the consumerism of alcohol, if you think about your life as growing up, you have milestones, and I bet one of those milestones was when I turned 21, I'm going to drink alcohol.
Hmm. Right.
I mean, it's a milestone. It's a given to just our society in general. And
Yes.
so if you think about that and you think, you might or might not know about the illness of alcoholism, right? And
Right.
that there are people out there that have a different reaction towards alcohol. Their bodies physiologically have a different
Hmm.
reaction towards
Right.
alcohol. And so they don't even know this, right? But they have this, they're going to get their driver's license, they're going to drink when they're
Right.
21,
That's right.
they're going to have all of these life events, they're going to have alcohol at their wedding, I mean, if you look at the
Mhm.
way our society is set up right now with alcohol, we celebrate almost every milestone now with alcohol. There's hardly an event, a sporting event, a societal event that you don't go to where alcohol is served. I
That's right.
can't tell you how many times I've gone to a restaurant where they looked at me strangely because I said I don't drink alcohol. And
Yes.
they fully expected me to be ordering alcohol.
Mhm.
And so you think about this, and then you've got a population of people that have a genetic marker, predisposition to having a problem with alcohol that they don't even know, and they ingest this, and the next thing
Mhm.
you know, they're having a very different interaction with alcohol than
Yes.
maybe another person is, and they're off to the races and they don't understand why. And even if they don't have that predisposition to alcoholism, um, it is a substance that creates dependency if you
Yes.
drink it long
Yes.
enough over a
Yes.
long enough period of
Yes.
time. I mean, there's just no way around it, right? It's a dependent substance. And so, what I find a lot of times is with the clients that I work with are women who over the age of 40 who've been drinking,
Right.
their entire life because, this is a
Yeah.
societal norm,
Mhm.
have all of a sudden found themselves unable to control their intake of alcohol. And so they're spending a lot of time thinking about it, not, trying to not do it, not drink it, but then drink it and then recover from it. They found themselves in this loop where they're
Right.
really involved with this relationship with alcohol, and they can't understand why, because society says this is what we do. And it gets
Exactly.
very confusing, especially
Very.
I think for my own experience with it, I had the same experience. I was in my late 30s. I was a middle school teacher. I
Mm.
had drank like everybody else, and started to have this relationship with alcohol where even on the times that I didn't want to drink, I would end up drinking. And I could not understand why I could not control my consumption with it.
Right.
And what had happened over the years, was that dependency had taken place. Now, I do have a family disposition to it, so who knows, the
Yeah.
chicken or the egg, what came first,
Yeah.
but it was there,
Yeah, we can
right? It was
definitely
there.
agree with that. It's one of the greatest marketed things in the history of our planet is actually alcohol. So,
They make billions of dollars off of
yeah.
it, billions of dollars. And
Mhm.
even, when I first started working in this industry, I taught DUI classes at this outpatient facility. And one of the things that we talked about was the marketing of alcohol.
Mhm.
And even into the like two in the t- into the in the 2000s, early 2000s, the beverage industry decided that they were really going to target women, and
Mhm.
that was gonna so that's when you started noticing like the little 4 packs of wine, the little
Right.
smaller bottles,
Mhm.
the fruitier drinks, the
Yes.
fruitier
Yes.
vodkas. All the stuff was all marketed toward. I mean, I even see today where there's wine that says you'll be more fit if you drink it. I mean, it's incredible, the marketing out there.
Ah, yes, it's we laugh, but
I know. And
yeah.
then you think about the repercussions of drinking and driving. You go to a restaurant, and I want you to think about this. You go to a restaurant, and the first thing they give you is the wine list,
Mhm.
the beverage list. And if you, depending on what type of restaurant you're at, say you're just at like a Applebee's, and this is not to put Applebee's on the line, but I'm just thinking about their
Right.
drink menu. It's got all these fruity drinks. They're
Mhm.
really colorful. They're really big and beautiful and all of this. And you're looking at the menu, and the waiter or waitress comes up and expects you to have a drink. And then how much of that drink does it take for you to be inebriated to the
Right.
point where if you got pulled over by a police
Mhm.
officer that you would get a DUI, which is now a felony, which
Right.
stays on your record forever. I mean, it's an incredible charge that you get. People don't really think about that. And the other thing is that people actually drive about 300 times inebriated before they even get a DUI.
Um, it's amazing when you stop to think about that. It's just marketing situations that are so obvious, like you say, a
Mhm.
restaurant. When I was a kid, I remember asking my parents, younger, I said, "Well, wait a minute. If everybody these bars and you're not allowed to drink when you drive, what are all the cars doing at the bars? I don't understand it."
Yes.
And I think I was told something like, "Well, you know what? You hope you don't get caught." And that was, one of them deals like you got a
I
lot of people
know.
leaving and drinking. So
I know. You're not even told like don't put other people's lives at risk,
right, right.
right? It's really like don't get
Don't
caught
get
because
caught.
it's really expensive if
Right,
you get
exactly.
caught, and the
Don't get caught.
repercussions are really
Yeah,
high. Yeah.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. Tamara, talk to me about your ideas about the healing process. I know you've got some specific ideas about the healing process.
Sure, sure. Well, obviously, if we look at how it came into effect that we would have a mindset that it's normal to drink,
Mhm,
right? Like again, we're taking in information, we're storing it into our subconscious mind. And believe it or not, we only use 5% of our conscious thought.
mm,
Yeah. So 95% is unknown to us and in our subconscious. And that stuff is taken in as we watch TV shows, as we be in society, as we're marketed to. All this information is getting stored back here. And what we do is we act on what's back there in our subconscious, but we don't know it because it's not known to us because it's in our subconscious.
mhm,
And so part of the recovery process is bringing the unconscious, that 95%,
mhm,
into our consciousness.
okay,
And so when I work with clients and we're working on the healing process, there's a very specific, um, uh, I guess we can say, tool or habit
mhm,
that I teach my clients to use
okay,
to start bringing the subconscious into the conscious. Okay, why do I, even though I know this is causing me problems, even though I'm getting into fights with my partner, even though I'm hungover every day and I feel like crap, why do I keep drinking? Why do
mhm,
I keep doing that? Even though my conscious thought is like, I don't want to do this anymore. Why do I keep doing it? Well, because I have this subconscious thought driving it. And it might be something like, I'm afraid I'm not going to fit in.
okay,
I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me. I'm afraid I'm not going to, be good enough. There's
mhm,
these there's these thoughts that are running around back in the subconscious that are driving the behavior. And until we can bring that forward into conscious thought and connect with it in a way that we can shift it, because really we're going to shift it. So if we believe everybody drinks, this is just part of society, this is just what we do, this is how we have fun, this is how we relax. Those are some like really big subconscious thoughts, right?
right,
It's like I've been marketed. This is how I relax. This
right,
is how I connect. This is how I, feel good. I mean, so we have that going on back there, but we don't even know it. And so part of the healing process is like bringing that forward. Why do you feel so uncomfortable when you go to a social event like a wedding and say, I don't drink? I mean, people get really activated by that. Why
yes,
is that? Well, it's because I've been taught that we drink at social events. I've
mhm,
been taught that I'm funnier, more beautiful, happier when I drink. But I don't know that that's operating back in my subconscious because it's not conscious to me yet. So part of the healing process then is going to be bringing that stuff forward so that I can uncover it, I can discover what it's saying, and I can let it go. And I'm going to be shifting that into a different thought process where I'm learning to see that I actually can have fun without alcohol, but I don't know that because I haven't had that experience yet. I don't realize that that's an experience that I can have because I have a great time. I go out and listen to live music. I go to all the type of events that
mhm,
anyone else would go to, and I haven't drank in years. And I have a great time. I even have a better time because in the morning I wake up, I'm not hungover.
okay, yeah,
you
that
know,
helps, definitely,
and
definitely,
so the healing process is going to be part of the healing process. Then is going to be having a shift in the way that I perceive myself and the world.
okay, very good.
Yeah.
Now, does that tie into, your thoughts about the, subconscious cognitive distortion? Is
Yeah,
that the
that's
same?
that's all the same. That's
Okay,
all the same. That's the main point of it. The main point of it. If I can't if I can't understand what's driving
mhm,
the behavior, if I don't get a connection with what's driving the behavior will always be driven. and I can't control it because it's out of control now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question: What is the what are the origins of you? Coming up with this train of thought and your approach.
Oh my
Just
goodness. I mean, I did not invent this. I just want
yeah,
you to know.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
understand that.
right, all the way back, if we go all the way back to Carl Jung, right?
Mhm.
This is information that psychologists and professionals and educators have been teaching for years. None of this is new. None of this is new information.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so I just specifically use it towards people who have this problem just because it's something that's close to my heart. It's really something I didn't understand
Mhm,
and didn't know. And, and it's not even just about the booze, because once I get the booze out of the way, and I actually find out that there's a lot of other cognitive distortions that are running my life, everything from being a woman to how
right.
much money I can make, to being a business professional. I mean, this is all of those life events, and who I am as a person is actually run again by the subconscious thought. So if I grew up in a household where, the message was sent to me that you just get married and you
Mhm,
take care of the husband, and you don't need to have a career, or I even just get the message that women are subservient, whatever, not to get on that tangent, but they're, I'm only good for my looks, I need to stay young, all this
mhm,
kind of stuff that we kind of get in society for,
right,
that, I mean, you see people out there with these distorted faces from all of the surgeries and procedures and
right,
stuff
yes.
like that, and they've clearly gotten the message that the only way that they're valuable is through their looks, right? But they don't know that. They don't know that's the belief back in their mind that's driving that behavior. And so all they can keep doing is trying to look different and better and younger in order to be valued, and they don't even know that's going on. So
Okay,
my thing is just really about alcohol. I love working with the youth. I love that you really
okay.
focus on the youth, because it's easier to change their mind.
Yes,
It's easier to change because they haven't been thinking those thoughts as long as they
exactly,
have.
I tell this if I was asked that before, so why do you do that? I said, "Because A, it's easy to change their mind. A, it's a lot more enjoyable to try to change their mind." In other words, they're born to look for new things and grow. So regardless of how stubborn they may act, they naturally gravitate toward, you know, reaching out and seeking. They're in that mode of life. Once you get past a
Sure.
certain age, that starts to dissipate for a lot of people. And then some people don't nurture it anyway. So now they're not looking to change and grow, they're looking to crawl back into a shell. Most young people, regardless of their situation, are not looking to crawl back into a shell. They're looking to strike out and make a point in life one way or the other, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, that they're questioning things, right?
Mhm.
Which is a
Yes.
natural developmental
Mhm.
stage
Yes.
for youth, right? Is to question authority, you question ideas, and so you get them at that phase. But also, again, like if we're taking on information in our formative years, if we're taking
Mhm.
on information as we grow,
Right.
and all of that is getting housed in our subconscious belief. What happens is, how do I have a subconscious belief that sticks? So, like for me, I'll give an example. For
Okay.
me, I am in the foster care system as a child. I got adopted when I was 5. I had several homes and an orphanage in there. And my experience was not good. And one of the beliefs that got formed because of that was that there was something wrong with me.
Mhm.
I'm not aware of it. I'm not aware that that belief has been formed inside of me. But if you watch my actions, you'll see a young girl who's always trying to fit in,
Mhm.
who's hiding and not saying things, who's keeping what she thinks and feels to herself because she's afraid to say what it is, because she thinks there's something wrong with her. And
Yeah.
because she thinks there's something wrong with her, she turns to alcohol because living life that way with this unconscious belief there's something wrong with you is really painful.
Right.
It's really painful. And so she finds alcohol and that starts to numb that pain. And not only numb that pain, but she starts to find her voice, especially when drinking.
Right. Okay.
Because alcohol turns the volume down. Alcohol numbs that stuff down and someone can come out. And she doesn't even know that this is happening until she's so far removed and alcohol has taken over her life. And so this is the kind of stuff that we think about when we think about the healing journey is like, is understanding, how my life experiences have formed beliefs that are driving behaviors that I'm not aware of. And that's a very extreme example, right?
Mhm.
Like most people don't have the level of trauma or experiences that I had in my childhood, but people can have things like, high performing parents
Mhm.
who mean well, want their children to do well. And so what the message is like, we'll love you as long as you're getting straight A's. We'll love you as long as you're behaving in school. This is reinforced by how are you doing in school, reinforced by good job, pat on the back,
Mhm.
extra hugs, extra whatever,
Right.
because you're doing what we think you should do in this world. And the child is really like an artist, a creator, an
Mhm.
inventor, but cannot allow that part of themselves to come out because the only way to get their attachment needs met,
Mhm.
their daily needs, met as a child is to make the parents happy.
Right.
No one's doing this on purpose. No one's
Right.
like knowing that this is
Mhm.
what's happening, but this is what's happening. And the next thing you know, you've got a child who's a lawyer or a doctor because this is what has been imposed upon them, but they're really an artist. And there's a mismatch in authenticity.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I was always worth it. Always. I was created worth it. But the world and the environment that I was in kept showing me there was something wrong with me because I'm
Mhm.
like from
Right.
foster home to, to other people's needs before my own. And so, but I was always worth it. I just didn't know it. I didn't know that I believed that. I didn't know how to get from A to B. And this is the healing process. This is like, okay, I got to get you from this point
Right.
over to this point so that you can be your true self, so you can shine like a star that you were always meant to shine as.
Excellent. Tamara,
Yeah.
listen, first of all, tell everybody while we're here, this is good. Tell everybody that's watching to remember to check those show notes out. We got some good stuff from Tamara that we are getting ready to get into, but please, you're going to want to see this stuff because it really pertains to, I think, some, like she said, some real healing instead of some superficial healing, some real healing. So remember in the show notes to check that out. Also, remember to parentingyourchildinrecovery.com. You have a young adult between the ages of 17 and 24, you're at risk, you're in trouble, or you're in the recovery process. It's a non-clinical private option, so check that out. Tamara, let's move on to this. This is the good part, even the better part. Uh, I want to talk about some of the projects that you got going. Some of the things that
Yeah.
you got going. First, start me off with. We'll start off with the women's retreat. Tell me
Yeah.
everything you can about that.
Okay. Yes. Yes. So, I love to get a group of women together
Mhm.
to start to unearth the subconscious beliefs, right? And so I have a retreat going on with a small group of women, no more than 10,
Okay.
where we get together and we do this deeper work together. And the beautiful thing about this kind of work as a group is that because we have so much stuff hidden to ourselves, when we do it in group form, other women will share things that will trigger the other women to go, oh my gosh, that's my experience too. Oh my gosh, I think I have that thought too. Or I do that too. And so there's an awareness that expands when you have a group of women together.
Mhm.
So the retreat, I have a couple retreats coming up. I have one in October
Mhm.
that will that's going to be here in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I'm residing at. And my friend Melanie and I are going to be running it together. We're going to be unearthing subconscious beliefs, and we're also going to be using different modalities to kind of pull it all together, because our subconscious is very tricky. We can
Okay.
work on bringing this stuff into the consciousness, but we also want to use some art and some somatic work, which is just our body, right? Because a lot of our
Okay.
issues get stored inside of us, and so we want to be able to let some of that go. So that's one of the retreats. There's another one that's happening in gosh, it's going to be in February. So I got 2 retreats coming up.
Okay.
You can look on my website and get
Okay.
the information. You can contact me. I'd love to give you the details. It's a really exciting experience to come and be a part of.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And you do something for teens also?
Yeah,
Something for them?
I'm gonna be doing the same thing with teens, working in person with them in a retreat kind of format, and
Okay.
also online. I was an educator for years in the school district,
Okay.
and I before that I worked in the children and family services, and I love working with kids, teenagers specifically. It's easy to change their mind and get them set up to discover who they are, so that they can, create the lives that they're always meant to live. So same thing, look on my website, get some more information, touch base with me about that.
That's great. Um, Last thing too, we talked about this briefly. You're thinking about starting a podcast this year coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yo.
called the Recovery Studio, and we're going to start in January. And again, my friend Melanie, who does
Okay.
some work with me, and we're going to be focusing on the healing, but also we're going to be adding um, some art projects
That's
to
interesting.
that for people to really connect. Again, we can connect with our subconscious in many ways and shift and expand it. And art and drawing can do that. It can really hit into some of our sensory stuff that we don't normally do. So we're excited about that.
Excellent. Does it have a name yet, or is it?
Yeah, Recovery Studio.
Okay, great. That sounds exciting. It really does. Great. Now, again, before we get ready to close down, we want to talk about, remember, show notes again. This is going to be, there's some very specific things going to be in this show note. I think that you have a lot of programs that are extremely relevant, especially in the retreat style, because
Mhm.
that's when you're really getting the people when you can sit down with them. I mean, it's
Yeah,
nice to do all these other things, but when you get somebody right there with you,
yeah.
you show through. So that is going to be great. Remember to in the notes also things about parenting your child in recovery. You are a parent or a mentor, young adult between 17 and 24, at risk, in trouble, or in the recovery process. It's a non-clinical option and it's private. And if you're a practitioner who wants to join in, look on there and see me also. Listen, before we go, I'm getting on you. You don't have a favorite movie? How's that possible? How's that possible?
There's too many to choose from.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm glad that's your answer. I thought you were going to say something to me like, "I never watch them." I'm like, I have a
No,
report
that's
card. I
not
go three
true.
times a week. She doesn't go to the movies at all. Oh,
That's not
okay,
true. There's too many to choose from. There's so much great work out there,
okay,
really. How could one person just choose one?
okay. Now, that's a better answer because I thought you were going to tell me something because I've never watched the movie. I haven't seen anything since The Godfather. I get all those all the time. So. And also, you think about not watching the news. My wife, been married for 32 years. My wife
Mhm,
never watches the news,
mhm,
is against it. She may
mhm,
know something here or there from
mhm.
something that shows on her phone or something, but for the most part, won't have anything to do with it. She lives a much better life. She's an artist too. She crochets, draws, paints, everything, and she doesn't
Mhm.
bother. But I find that so commendable. I'm here looking. I said, "Honey, you hear what happened?" She said, "No, and don't want to." So,
That's right. That's right. I do. I have to tell people, who, don't know me well or want to like, talk about the news. I'm not really interested in that.
right.
I want to use my emotional and mental space to help people. I don't want to cloud it up with all of the noise.
Okay. So remember too, I'll put a note up if you want to get in touch with Tamara, you know, call her up. Got a number right there. I think these type of things are vital. The reason why we even do this show is because we hope we can at least get one person. I'm shooting for one person to get in there
Mhm.
and get that real help, and save a life. So, I want to thank you for being with me today, giving me some of your
Thank you
time,
so
your
much, Richard.
knowledge.
I appreciate you.
It's definitely this is great stuff, and I knew it would be. I want to tell everybody to. In closing, I'll speak for myself and you when I say in closing, because I love to say this at the end of every show. Remember to get out there and help somebody get better,
Hmm.
help somebody stay better, and then in turn help somebody be better. So. This is
Yeah.
Richard Jones for Tamara. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.